Hi everybody, welcome to 5 Minute Ministries. There's a VeggieTales episode called Josh and the Big Wall. It's about the story of Joshua from the Bible, and they had run into Jericho. And the characters are sitting around a fire discussing what to do next. And one of them says, "I'm telling you, we should go back to Egypt. We spent all day in the sun, we had 3 meals a day, and plenty of exercise. It was paradise." And another character turns to him and says, "We were in slavery." Now, I want to address this because last time I talked about returning to Egypt just like this character had suggested. But now I want to talk about leaving Egypt because as a follower of Christ, as a fellow believer, those of you who do know Christ and you were thinking about going back to your old lifestyle, I would have to ask, why? Because you too were also in slavery. You were in slavery to sin, you were in slavery to vices, you were in slavery to evil, you were in slavery to the will of the devil ultimately. And it wasn't just your will at play here, it was the devil keeping you in that will to keep you away from God. You were in bondage to all the things that you gave over to Christ. And when you gave it over to him, he took those bondages away. He broke the chains and he gave you freedom. So to desire to go back to slavery seems like an insane thing. Now I would say, well, that's all I've ever known. Or maybe the church hurt you. Someone in the church hurt you. Something happened that made you say, I don't want to deal with God anymore. I don't want to serve God. I don't want to live for God. I want to live for myself. If you are truly his, you will never be satisfied with living for yourself because you have the Holy Spirit in you, and the Holy Spirit's going to continue to talk to you. There's going to be continual conviction. There's going to be continual prodding from God. He's going to show himself everywhere you go. You can ignore him. You can not acknowledge what's going on. But the truth is, if you belong to God, he still has his hand on you. And he's not going to let you go that easily. And if he finally lets his hands off, then you have a bigger problem than you realize, because then the devil can come in and really wreak havoc with your life. And you wonder, well, what's going on? Why is my life in such turmoil? Because you went back to Egypt. Now, you left Egypt. Why would you want to go back to all of that? If you know the events of Exodus, you understand that the children of Israel didn't want to be there. They didn't want to be under the rule of Pharaoh. God freed them, and he was taking them to a land that he promised them. But it was not an easy track. And because it was not easy, they decided Egypt was better. But as followers of Christ, we cannot think that way. It's certainly not easier to go back to our old life. Our old life is not only gone, it should have been left in the past. We should not be bringing up the thing, oh, I remember when I was like this, I was carefree, I did whatever I wanted. And you see the people who live that lifestyle, who are still, quote, living in Egypt, and you see that their lives really aren't that great. Now, that doesn't mean your life's going to get easier as a follower of Christ. And if you follow him, you already know that. He promised you trouble. He promised that the world would hate you, that the world would persecute you, that the world is not going to treat you very well at all. So why would you want to go back to it? They're already treating you poorly. You think they're going to treat you any better if you go back to them? It may feel easier, but it certainly isn't. You're going to wonder, where is God? God abandoned me. I hate God. No, you abandoned God. You hate God because you decided to go back to Egypt. Now, if you want to leave Egypt, you need to stay out of Egypt and head toward the promised land that God gave you, and you need to follow his directions, because if you don't, you're going to become bitter like the children of Israel. You're going to become discontent and unthankful, ungrateful. You're going to start thinking about the past instead of the future that God has for you. If you stay with him, you walk with him, no matter where he directs you, he will be with you, and he will tell you the right things to do, but you have to stay on the path with him. Because if once you step off of that path, then you'll start desiring the things that are in the past, the things that are of old. See, God has made you a new creature. And when he makes you a new creature, he gives you the ability to follow him. And whatever he asks you to do, he will give you the strength, the power, and the means to do so. But I'm encouraging you as a follower of Christ, stay on that path. Do not stray from it. Keep your eyes focused on him, and you will make it through just fine. This has been 5 Minute Ministries, and I'll see you next time.